Hi, I'm Kacey.
And I'm Gianni.
I never finished reading the Animorphs books as a kid, and I still haven't as an adult.
And I've never read them.
We can't tell you where we live.
But we can tell you that we want to revisit these books as adults and dive into what we would keep or change if we were to put it on TV.
Two friends, 50-something books. Welcome to Morphin Buddies.
And then the music kicks in, and then people are just so ready.
Hey everybody, welcome to the next episode of Morphin Buddies with me, your host, Kacey Cisnowski, and we got a giggling Gianni DeMaia over here.
They can't tell because they don't watch us, but you really gave that gave that a whole little head nod, neck twitch, shake, and whole kit and caboodle there.
Shake, rattle, and roll, baby. You know, I'm very bird-like, so you know.
Yes. Yeah, yes. As you can tell from our cover art, you're very bird-like.
That's true, and so are you.
Yeah, I'm bird-like in a different way.
Just a little more cooked, a little more dead.
A little tastier.
I can see that.
More compact.
A little more seasoned.
I'm like a mass market paperback, you know,
You are not $1.99, Gianni. You're more than that.
No, now that's $8.99 if you get them on Amazon, baby. My copy of The Eye of the World as I hold up right here.
You know, I used to work at a bookshop, the Mysterious Bookshop. It's actually the biggest mystery bookshop in New York City. It might be in the country. And we ship all over the world, or at least when I worked there. I shipped books all over the world. And we had mass market paperbacks for $1.99. So if you want to hit up...
Beautiful.
The Mysterious Bookshop. Say hi to Otto. He's the owner. He's a lovely, lovely man. You can get a mass market paperback. Yes. I also,
that's how you do it.
Quick sidebar, I also started reading a book that I think you're into.
Oh? What?
Court
of Thorn and Roses?
Yeah. I just started reading that yesterday.
Really?
And I'm really enjoying it. I'm only in like the first 100 pages of the first book, so I'm not. Yeah, she just entered the fairyland, so.
Got it. So is it giving Beauty and the Beast yet? Are you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. She was like, ooh, his long blonde hair and his toned body, and he's so gruff, and I'm like, ooh, the Beast when the Beast was hot, not human Beast. Beast sucks.
I gave that book I think 2.5 stars, and. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Hell yeah. That works.
Here's the thing. I want more hard fucking in my romantasy. Sue me, okay? I want more, and you get a little bit of it, and I was like, yeah. But it's like watching, Love Is Blind, you know? It's like
you
give
want
me
more hard fucking in Love Is Blind.
I want slop. I want wet, nasty, hard fucking with the animal beast man who brings me into the fairy realm and won't let me leave.
Listen, Gianni, don't they do enough emotional fucking?
No, it's not enough.
You need physical and emotional.
Well, I don't want to spoil anything. I don't want to spoil anything.
Good.
I almost said something that was a spoiler.
Don't.
Enjoy it. I hope that you enjoy as much as I did. Because again, it's like... I
am enjoying it.
It's a book that I read that I was like, I need to see what the cultural zeitgeist is about.
Yeah.
It's the same reason that I read Fourth Wing.
Oh, yeah, you told me you read that.
Neither book is for me. And that's okay. What I can say is I can see why you like it, and I know why I like it.
Did you read any of the sequels?
No, I haven't read them yet. I should, though.
I've heard that the series, it's like the Harry Potter series. The first couple books are kind of YA, and it's like, all right, fine, kids' books, whatever. And then once you hit the third book, it starts to get way more adult really quickly, and you don't expect it.
Okay.
So, if that helps.
Maybe that's what I gotta jump into.
It might be.
Yeah, I think what I need is, someone told me I should read, what was it called? Something about, oh, God. Now I'm going to embarrass myself, but it was something to do with milking.
Ew!
I think it was milk. No. Milk was in the title. Anyway, if you know what book I'm talking about, then write into the email at morphinbuddies@gmail.com.
Careful.
But
That's dangerous.
Point being, someone told me to read this book because they were like, because I had said, as I normally do when I'm reading anything, I'm like, I need more hard fucking in this book. And someone was like, you should read this
book.
It's like
about
Milk Farm,
milking.
whatever. It's literally, the plot pitch as dictated to me was that there's like these Minotaur guys, and they go in to a stall of sorts just to get just pumped. You know what I'm saying? And the girls, they like get hired for this gig. And this is a normal thing in the world, I guess. And she falls in love with one of the Minotaur guys, and she's rocking. And here's the thing, right? I heard that, and my reaction immediately was, ew.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Nice. I'm in.
Oh wait, I gotta. Anyway, Animorphs.
Listen,
just like Animorphs.
As far as we know, thus far, there is no hard fucking in Animorphs. Not yet.
And here's the thing: I don't want hard fucking in Animorphs. I do want romance, though.
Yeah.
In Animorphs, I've been.
We're getting
very
little
pro
bits of it.
Romance. This was the biggest. This was the biggest step forward we've got in romance.
Yes.
Was in
100%. 100%.
When it happened, jaw dropped. I went, no.
Yeah.
I went, no way.
Yeah.
Stop it.
They acknowledge it without acknowledging it. Like, pitter patter goes my little heart.
No, literally. I you know that meme of that guy who sits forward in the chair? Mm-hmm. That was me. I was like, you know what happens next. I'm bated breath.
Listen, every time we come across a bit of a storyline or a bit of a reference between the romance between Tobias and Rachel, I always think of a very wise quote that you said on a previous episode, where you're like, kiss her with your bird beak right now.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yes, kiss her with your bird beak. Do it.
Literally do it. Literally
do it,
do
pussy.
It.
Do it.
Just do it. Just do it.
Don't swing your fist. Don't threaten him. He's been threatened enough in his life.
Listen, he's very hungry in this book. You know what I can feed him? A knuckle sandwich. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? Maybe to follow up, he can get a Hertz donut.
Yeah, so get your bird beak on her fucking human lips.
Oh, this is great. What did you think about The Pretender, Gianni?
Oh yeah, great segue.
Very smooth.
Here's the thing. As you know, I say it on many a podcast now, but I have my sources now.
Yes.
See what people think about these books.
Yes.
And I happen to know that The Pretender is a top tier for many a folk. Mm-hmm. So I had a high expectation. Here's the thing. I don't know if I was let down because my expectations were too high.
Could have been.
Or if the book just actually wasn't very good. I tried to find a different way to say that. I really was looking for different words, and it was the only thing. Anyway, no, I don't think the book was bad by any stretch of the imagination. I do think it's in like the lower tier for me, and I will explain why. Mm-hmm. My number one gripe with this book is that this book in particular, it is so clear, so painfully obvious that K.A. Applegate wanted to find a way to get, and this is spoilers for the book, I'm sorry to say this, but you know, you've
been warned.
No one's listening to book 23 and like not expected to be spoiled. Anyway, but it's very clear and obvious to me that K.A. Applegate came into this book with one clear goal in mind. She was like, I need to get Tobias to know who his dad is. To get Tobias to know from the Andalite Chronicles that Elfangor is actually his father.
Puppy.
I gotta get that in there. Tobias has to know this information. This is important. And I agree with her that it's important that he knows.
Yes.
I don't know what ramifications it's going to have on the series moving forward, but I imagine that it's an important thing, right? She then tries to stuff this book with like two other plots.
Yeah.
That ultimately don't matter. Because all we want is that final thing where Tobias finds out that his dad is Alpha. And, like, that whole scene is amazing.
Yes.
And perfect.
Yeah.
And awesome. And tense. And him trying to hold in the emotions and masking while he's getting this information that's literally making him, like, tear up. Everything about that scene is perfect.
Yes.
And I wouldn't change a thing.
Yes.
And everything else about the book, I'm just like, I wish this was just more of that scene. I don't think that it's bad. I don't think that the other stuff is bad. I just think that it's largely inconsequential in the grander scheme of it. And I think that ultimately what this book does is it kind of spins its wheels for about 100 and some odd pages, and then has like 30 pages worth of stuff that's like really, really interesting and neat and impactful for the series and exciting and awesome. And then the rest of it is just like, it kind of just gets a boost because I think we all like Tobias. I mean, I don't know if that's like a stretch to say. I think the general consensus of you and I, and certainly of the larger Animorph fans as a whole, is that Tobias is a really fun POV character, and I think probably the most relatable of all of them. And I think that any Tobias book is just inherently going to get a bump because of that, in the same way that any Marco book is going to get a bump because it's the most different from any other perspective that we get. But ultimately, this book really just spins its wheels for a while. It has a circus sort of setting that doesn't really matter. Yeah. It has like a kind of interesting like showdown about halfway through that doesn't really have any lasting ramifications. I think that it has a really great scene and a half with Tobias and Rachel. Yeah. I love how they grew that relationship. Yeah. I would throw that part of it into the necessary like 30 pages worth of book that was really good. But yeah, ultimately I just felt like this book kind of spun its wheels while trying to get to its end game. Yeah. But what did you think?
I mean, I totally understand where you feel like the expectations were set really high and then you being disappointed. I myself had this experience when watching Before Sunrise this weekend, and I was bored out of my mind until like the last 20 minutes. But
wait, okay. Gilly, we had a text exchange about this.
We did.
The podcast constituency. You can edit this out later. But we had a text exchange about this, where I think you gravely underestimated my adoration of Richard Linklater.
I absolutely did.
When you asked me if I liked Before Sunrise. Because I went to just like diatribe after diatribe.
It was great, though. I loved it.
Also, Richard Linklater is really good at this.
And director did this, and they did this.
I was like a kid, like showing you all my different crayons that are like just slightly different colors.
It was so sweet. Yeah. And I was like, look.
No, but I get it. It's not everybody's cup of tea. And
also
obviously
like
everything's going to be different.
All the critic scores for that movie were like 100%, like every single one of them. And I was like, okay, this must be like really good. And I don't mind talking movies. I just watched Lost in Translation recently. I love that movie. Yeah. I am in the story the entire time, and the ending makes me cry and sad and melancholy, but also slightly happy. I love movies like that. Past Lives is another one that's like that.
See, how do you like Past Lives?
Oh my God. Because Before Sunrise is two white people with nothing to lose. That's all it is.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
all. They don't really have like anything at stake. They're not sad about the situation they're in. Okay, Ethan Hawke is kind of in a relationship or whatever, like, but it's also not. It's like over. It's his ex now, so he's like just going back to America. Okay,
you
have a great life.
Listen,
what?
Here's the thing. I think that it will appreciate and value if you watch the sequels, number one.
Yeah,
number two,
I feel like I should watch the sequels.
Do you know this true story behind it?
Richard met a woman on a train, and they had a conversation, and then he really liked her, and he based the movie off of that. And apparently, Ethan Hawke and Julia, what is her last name?
Julie Delpy.
They actually helped write a lot of the script because they said the original script was, wait for it, boring. And I love that they helped to make it more interesting. And it's kind of interesting. But, like, I just don't feel like anything's at stake for them.
No, but you know half of the real story, but
Yeah.
so the truth is he made the movie because he was hoping that if he made a movie about it, she would reach out to him because he didn't have any way to contact
okay,
her.
that's very sweet.
So then
but I know she
he
died
didn't
right
hear
before
from
it
her.
came out.
Well, yeah. Well, no. So he didn't hear from her. He then ended up making a sequel about 6 years later. Or was it 6 years? No, I think the movie takes place 6 years later, but I can't remember how long. But anyway, he ended up making a movie sequel in the hopes that would get her attention, if it, because now he was a bigger name director. And it didn't get her to reach out to, but a friend reached out to him and said that she had died in a car accident like a year before that sequel came out.
So sad. So sad.
Yeah.
So that I think is very sweet, and that is romantic. And I would rather watch a movie with Ethan Hawke doing that.
Well, you should watch the sequels. They're good.
I do want to watch the sequel. I do actually want to watch the sequels. Anyway, nobody cares about how I feel about this. But back to Animorphs. Gianni does. Thank you, Gianni. I appreciate you. And I appreciate all of our morphin buddies who put up with our tangents. Thank you. We love you. With consent. Anyway, so I did like this book, but yeah, I did feel like the plots, I was like, what are we doing here with the plots? Like, what impact is this going to have? And again, I don't mind a story where not much happens, but if not much is going to happen, we need more character work. Now, I do feel like the character work with Tobias was pretty good in this. Like, yes, he's still very emo, and he just has so many feelings that he just doesn't know what to do with because he's just a bird. But
He's just a bird.
He's just a bird,
literally
man.
just a bird, dude.
He's literally just a little fowl, you know? So
choking on Snapple at that joke. That was
there
good.
you go.
Go ahead.
Not the first time, won't be the last time, probably.
No.
So and I do feel like it was expanded upon to the point where, like, it didn't feel, like, tired. Like, with any Tobias book, I do feel like we're going to get some kind of angst. And I like that because I love our boy Tobias. He's the purest boy. But, and I do feel like we got something different with this. I love the conversations he had with Rachel when it was just the two of them. I thought those were very mature and very real conversations, to the point where I think, like, the last conversation they had together in the book, I was just like, oh my God, like, this is raw. Like, this is really raw for them. And I really loved that. But the Hork Bajir side plot was like, oh no, okay, we fixed it, and then and we don't even see them fix it.
Yeah, fix it off screen.
It happens off screen. And then, I mean, I kind of like that Applegate tried to entwine the two, plot A and plot B, together. But it also, it wasn't, like, satisfying to me.
She has to take a whole separate chapter to explain how they're entwined.
Yeah.
Which is I think indicative of poor execution in building blocks, establishing the reader's inherent relationship of those two events. So yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, that it just feels lacking in the resolution of those circumstances.
Yeah. So I mean, it was fine. Those were the points that I liked and the points that I didn't like. So that.
Yeah.
The end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those, it's just one of them where I was like, Also, I'll say this too.
Uh-huh.
A clear overcorrection on the title issue that I was having. Because
we did get a pretender.
Definitely a pretender. But to the extent that the whole time you're reading the book, you're like, okay, so that's the pretender, right? And then that's like the one and only, like, ace in the hole twist that the book has. And I was like, okay, well, the title gave that shit away. So I don't know why they went.
Yeah,
I don't know why they ran
true.
with the pretender as the.
Well,
it's just an odd thing.
I mean, listen, at the end when Tobias was morphed into the rabbit mom and took care of the babies, he was pretending to be a lady rabbit taking care of her babies.
Right.
One
way
could
better
argue.
Twist, obviously.
that was the that was the real pretender, Gianni.
That took us all by surprise, didn't it?
100%. So yeah, those are our thoughts. Should we dive into this?
Yeah, let's, because I want to tell people, what didn't happen in this book. No, I'm being unfair.
What happened, but then was resolved off screen.
Yes, that's
we didn't get the satisfying conclusion that I feel like we should have gotten.
Correct. Yes, that is more appropriate, I think.
Okay. No, I'm going to save that for the end. I'm going to save that for the end. Don't let me forget my change to the Hork Bajir ending. Don't let me forget.
Okay.
I don't want to bring it up right now. Save it to the end. I'm probably not going to remember.
Bite your tongue.
I should write it down.
Bite your tongue.
Let me write it down real quick in my notes so I don't forget.
You're going to forget for sure.
HB ending in all caps. Okay. Now I'm going to remember. It's
my worst nightmare to forget stuff like that.
Oh my God. Anyway, I have to write everything down. I'm an old. I got to write everything down.
Oh, I booked a haircut today, right? So, like 11 o'clock, I was like, I should get a haircut. And then I booked a haircut today at like 2 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And I had to write that down because I was like, if I don't write this down, I'm going to forget. The haircut was like a couple hours away. That's it.
And don't you work from home?
Wait, say again?
Don't you work from home?
Yeah. So
you're like right there looking at it the whole time.
I know. This is how broken my fucking brain is. That's what it takes. I'm starting to become a calendar person. I put off being a calendar person for so many years.
Love a calendar.
I put it off. I was like, I don't want to be a calendar.
Get a calendar.
Now I have to do it. I have to do it.
Yeah.
Because if I don't do it, then all of a sudden, and this happened to me for years, where friends would be like, "You're coming tonight, right?" And I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Like, what do you mean? Well, I have no idea. It's like, you told me last Thursday. I'm like, dude, I can't remember what I fucking did today. What do you mean?
Yeah, you got to write it down on the calendar. And if pro move, because I love calendars. I've been writing in calendars for years. You at the end of the year, when you get your new calendar for the new year, you sit down on your bed and you take both calendars and you flip them through month by month and you write down the birthdays and events or anniversaries that you want to remember into the new calendar. And then it's okay to toss the old calendar away. Right now, I have a calendar in my room. It's birds, but they have butt cheeks and legs. So they have like cake in the back with sexy legs, and they're all cartoon birds, and I love them.
Hey, I hate that you told me that.
I'll send you some pictures.
Actually, hey, don't. Hey,
they're great.
Hey.
They're wonderful.
Hey, we've been friends. We've been friends long enough that I feel like I could ask this of you.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
No, I'm not going to listen. We've been friends long enough. I don't have to listen. Anyway.
Anyway. So the plot. So the plot of The Pretender. So it begins with Tobias being, you'll never believe this, angsty. And he's angsty because he's trying to eat this rabbit family, or he's like hypothesizing about how best to approach eating the rabbit. He's like, if I kill the mom, it's the most meat, but if I kill a baby, then she'll keep breeding. And I'm like, this is dark. But he's having issues about it.
He's a predator.
Because there's another hawk in the clearing, whatever you want to call it, that is basically like on his turf. And they're having like a little turf war.
Yeah.
And
they're snapping their fingers at each other.
Yeah, the Jets and Sharks which is it's funny because there's a Romeo and Juliet reference later in this book. That, Jets and Sharks also,
R&J
correlates to, as we all know.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
We love that.
But so Tobias is upset. He doesn't know how to tell this bird off. He's having a hard time. He ends up, being like, well, whatever. I'll leave the rabbits alone. He goes, eats some roadkill.
Yeah.
Like a little freaky bird that he is. I mean, he can't fly anywhere else to get any other animal. He's got to go with the dead animal.
I mean, well, look, he tried to get the baby bunny, but then he had like a flash of being the baby bunny. And he could see his own shadow swooping in on the bunny, and he freaked out because he's never had that vision before. And he's like, I'm going to go with a roadkill today, thanks.
Yeah, so the whole theme of this book is literally just me begging. Any Kacey book, and now any Tobias book moving forward, I'm just going to be internally screaming at them to just be like, just quit. Just give it up.
Oh, no.
Go eat some steak. Take a nap, you know what I mean? Like, you don't got to do this. You don't have to do this.
You don't have to do it, buddy.
You know what? It's okay. It's okay. You know? It's not for everyone.
That's true.
And I think that's important.
That's true.
But as we'll learn, I'm assuming throughout the rest of these books, actually it is for everyone because they're going to keep suffering through.
Well, listen, would you rather lose one of them and gain a David?
God,
no, we can't have that.
I wouldn't wish a David on my worst enemy, dude.
You can't have that.
But here's the thing, though. Would I rather lose him? Period.
The end.
I don't know. I think Animorphs could do with like just having one guy in a chair, you know, like dude who sits at a computer and is like, I'm running
like
the
Dr.
numbers.
X.
I think that the best way to proceed is actually just being a fucking elephant and breaking everything. And then they're like, okay,
here we go.
Just have one guy calling the shots from a chair. You know what I mean? Like, just do that. That's fine. That's a job that I think Tobias and Cassie are probably actually just Tobias, because Cassie, I don't think she should be within 20,000 feet.
Oh no!
The girl is just not cut out for it. She's not cut out. Last we saw her own book, she was just quite simply
she's a mess. She's a mess.
She needs to.
Poor girl.
Just take a break.
Yeah.
Take a break.
Yeah.
Take a step back.
Go somewhere else.
Take 8 steps back while you're at it. No, touch grass. Go to the beach. You know, move inland. Honestly,
that's true. Go to the middle of the country.
Yeah, go where everything is, you know, barren wasteland.
Tornadoes.
Flyover state,
yeah.
You know? Yeah. You know, who needs all this riffraff over here in Forks, Washington?
That's right.
But anyway, I digress. Hands up later, he goes to Rachel's house because Jake is like, oh, Rachel has to talk to you or whatever. I don't know why they're being so cryptic and cagey about it, but there's I heard that Rachel has to. Oh, well, yeah. Let me pass my message through the. Forget the fuck. Just tell me. Just call me on the phone. Call me on the bird line. You know, walk out into this tree line and just shout up his roof. Yeah. But anyway, Rachel was approached by a lawyer who was looking for Tobias. Now, why was Rachel approached, you ask? No fucking clue, okay? No one would know why.
That confused me also.
Tobias, it's not like they hung out. It's not like they hung out.
But he didn't hang out with anybody. The only person he hung out with was Jake. I mean, look, we don't have a lore master for the series. So, like, we don't have a lore master. That's understandable. But, like, also, there is no reason in this social world that Rachel would have anything to do with Tobias. None. Zero.
No, not even a little. Not even a little. But for whatever reason, the lawyer was like, you, gorgeous and obviously super popular teenager, come here. I know that you know the angsty, rarely ever seen at school Tobias. I'm looking for him, actually, on behalf of, get this, his long-lost cousin Arya, who has been searching for him. So Chapman, as you remember, Vice Principal Chapman, who we haven't heard about in, I don't know, 8 or 9,000 books, it seems, was also asking after it. Was like, yeah, you know what? I haven't seen Tobias in a while.
Where's that boy?
Strange. And rather than calling the people who are allegedly in charge of Tobias and his whereabouts, they approach Rachel.
He's like, nah. Let me just do a workaround.
Who, and I cannot stress this enough, has no correlation to Tobias whatsoever. But for all intents and purposes, that's what's happening. So Rachel informs Tobias of all this. Tobias immediately is like, well, clearly it's a trap. Rachel's like, yeah, probably, but you should still probably go. And we can at least, you know, work out some sort of contingency plan. So basically what they work out is that everybody's like stationed at different places. They're like having like faux meet cutes with one another outside the lawyer's office and all this kind of whatever. Rachel's like in the bathroom waiting to turn into a grizzly bear in case
shit goes down.
He calls out for
But
whatever.
I love this.
Tobias
I love
is
the
like,
scene where Tobias is walking into the building and he's like, all right, be human, be normal, be normal, be normal. And then the secretary is like, hi, do you want anything to drink while you're waiting for the lawyer? And he's like, I want a Coke! And it's like,
Yeah,
he just shouts it.
Coke! A Coke, please!
And then he's like, maybe, was that too loud? Maybe I shouldn't shout. Also, Applegate decided to put some pronunciations in this book to help the wee lads and lasses reading this. They're like, aria, and it's like, yeah, like the thing they do in operas. Aria.
Yeah,
and it's like, okay. And then he's talking.
What 12-year-old that you know is like a bit. Oh, well, thank you.
Oh yeah, an aria. I know what that is.
Thank you, Miss Applegate, of course. With all of my operatic training. That
exactly.
I've done in my 12 years of age.
And the lawyer's name.
An Animorphs book.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, that's the crossover.
So then and also the lawyer's name is De Groot. And Tobias is like, hello, Mr. De Groot. And he's like, actually, it's, what is it? De Groot. He's like, it's actually De Groot. And it's like, there's two O's. It is not De Groot. Stop it.
Yeah, here's what I'll tell you,
what?
Mr. De Groot.
You need to De Groot yourself out of here.
Coming around a whole lot in these books. I feel like unless you're a character that's guaranteed to be there for at least 3 books, you are not allowed to correct any pronunciation of your name by any character.
And they only say it once. Like, if it was like a running joke in this book, I would have laughed. I thought that would have been great. I would have loved that. But they do it once, and then it never comes up again. And I'm like, okay, so this is just for the pronunciation for the chillins reading these books.
Yes. Of course. But so yeah, Mr. De Groot.
Wait, one more thing. I'm so sorry. He's like he's in there and Tobias is like, "Well, what about you? What are you about?" And De Groot is like, "Oh, my father owned this law firm and, we have a lot in common because my dad's dead too." And I'm like, "Bro, that is not the way to approach a child."
Now, here's the thing.
What?
I think I don't know. I can't say for certain. This is headcanon stuff, but the assumption seems to be that because immediately the reaction was like, "Has this guy never spoken to a human before?" And then I think by the end of it, when it's like, "Oh, De Groot is actually kind of involved in this whole scheme," I think it's kind of like, "Oh, this may actually be like the first human he's ever spoken."
It could be. It absolutely could be.
This may actually be like a brand new York, like in his head or whatever. So I'm like, I give it the pass. But you're right. It's the craziest, like out of left field. Like, why are we doing this? Like, why are you saying
funny.
this? We've never spoken to another human being before.
That's
just
so
an absolute
funny.
psychopath.
So he says, Tobias, your father left a letter that cannot be opened legally until the day of your birthday. So, when on your birthday, just come back in here and we'll read the letter. And Tobias is like, what day is it again? He's like, your birthday. And Tobias is like, right. I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember my birthday. I don't remember my star sign. I am not sure if that tracks. So Tobias is like, I think it's the 25th, which happens to be in 3 days. So we got a 3-day time limit before we can open this letter.
Thank goodness.
So then Tobias notices someone's kind of...
Quick point of order.
Yes.
Just to throw it out there, though, and take it or leave it. But if this is the case, one, why not just have Tobias come in on his birthday? Why did we schedule it 3 days in advance?
Don't know.
That seems like an obvious conclusion we should draw. Two, if you're a yerk in a lawyer's head... What the fuck do you care about legally I can... who gives a shit? I would just be like, well, since you're here now... It's not like Tobias is going to be like, legally, sir, you have to wait until my checks notes 14th birthday? It's not even like a real, like, substantial or significant birthday.
Well, yeah, because...
There's no reason why that would have been in a will
at
all.
Well, they also... It's clear that by the end of the book that they opened and read the letter. Because otherwise they wouldn't be looking for Tobias.
Right.
So
what the fuck did they care?
what, and how did they know
Just
to read
do
the
it.
letter? Like what? Where?
No, they literally were like, Alan Fangor. That sounds suspiciously close to. Wait a second. Opens letter.
Goes through Rolodex. Where's an Alan Fangor?
Starts tearing it.
Yeah. So what?
I mean,
okay.
they just must have been fucking miserable. These guys.
Yeah.
Literally, all this scene is just like, there's a lot of book left,
and we got
So
3 days to
can't-
fill.
We can't say it now.
So,
but we'll say it later.
So then Tobias heads over to the Applebee's, right? As you do. He realizes someone's following him. Thankfully, he loses him in the Applebee's when he goes through the kitchen staff and then loses the person following him. Do we ever find out who actually followed him? Because I don't think that's ever revealed.
Nope.
Cool. Love that.
It was literally just to plant the seed that, like, something suspicious is here. And it's like, well, go figure. The book is called The Pretender, so I wonder.
So,
yeah. But yeah. Sneaky.
So Tobias is like, ugh, this is too much for me. I can't do this. I have to fly. That's where all my worries go away.
Yeah, no, he literally. This sounds like a dramatization, but it's literally exactly what happened. He's like, I know that they'll just want to talk about it, and I just want to get away. I'm like, all right, dude, whatever.
I know, and he's like, I'm gonna go somewhere where no one can find me. The Hork Bajir Valley in the mountain that the Elamists put there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go there, and I'm gonna say hi to my friends.
Yeah.
And so he flies over to the valley, and he finds out that one of the baby Hork Bajir named Beck is missing. Oh no, he got out and he didn't come back. And Tobias was like, was anybody watching him? And they're like, well, we leave from time to time and everybody comes back. So he didn't need parental guidance. And Tobias was like, all right. So now he also finds out that the Hork Bajir in the valley have been rescuing their own kind from a nearby yerk pool that they found. Which, cool. They're doing like some work on their own. Great. But they also ask Tobias, like, can you not tell your Animorph friends, because we don't want you to destroy the Hork Bajir that are there. We don't want you to destroy the pool. We just want to get our people out so we have a bigger army to fight them.
Right.
And Tobias is like, fair point. I won't say anything for now, but I might have to later. And so Tobias again tries to hunt a rabbit, but he gets PTSD again, and he wonders what's wrong with me. Yeah. Why can't I hunt? And he's so hungry. He's such a hungry little boy. So he goes to the gang, and he's like, guys, I have a long-lost cousin, Arya, and she's might be suspicious, don't know. They said they have a letter from my father. I don't know who my real father is. And they're like, okay, we need to make sure this is not a trap. So Jake, actually being a good leader, relegates jobs for everybody and says, like, Rachel, Tobias, you guys go do this. Cassie, Marco, you go do this. I will be in charge of this. Axe, you will be in charge of this. And I was like, great. Good job, Jake. Thumbs up from us.
The best Jake is a Jake that is hardly in the book at all, I found.
He was in this book a little bit, but he was good. He was good for the bits he was in this book. So Tobias and Rachel get Arya duty. So they're going to go and watch her and track her for the day. And Rachel is not very nice because they see Arya wearing a dress in like the hotel room. And Rachel's like, ugh, that dress is 3 to 4 years out of date. And I was like, okay, chill, Rachel.
Read that bitch to filth, I say. Rachel is, as of this book, officially my favorite character. She
is fun. Yeah.
There's like the craziest. I can't remember what. There's something that's said in this book where, I think it's in relation to the outfit that she's wearing, where they're like, well, they shouldn't criticize that. They should criticize their fucking. It's like basically, she's like that old hand me down. I was like, hell yeah, dude, read this bitch for filth. This pretender ass bitch. But yeah, she's Arya's like a photographer, and she's coming from the safari
Africa.
or whatever. Yeah. But so Arya goes to some sort of circus.
A bad zoo / mini golf place.
Yeah, like Frank's. I can't remember something.
Frank's Animal Safari or something.
Yes, that sounds very.
I think
very
yeah.
Right. So
yeah.
So they like sneak into this place. They actually sneak in by Rachel stealing the toupee off of the security guard as
Love
a
that.
keyhole and then
Love
dropping
that.
it in an alligator pool. And then they walk in.
She's like, let's just say one of the alligators has a new hairstyle.
Yeah.
I was like, yes.
Which is diabolical, by the way.
Love that
hilarious.
though.
But yeah, so they sneak in and then they like oversee this conversation, which pretty much is kind of implying that like, oh, maybe Arya's a good guy or whatever. If you haven't read the title of the book, maybe that's what you're thinking. And so Arya is like basically asking Frank about this new sideshow attraction, which is clearly and obviously a Hork Bajir.
Yeah.
And the guy is like, yeah, I don't know what this thing is, but some guy brought it to me in a pickup truck, and the newspaper's going to come and take a bunch of pictures of it and whatever, and publicize it, and I'm going to make a boatload of cash. And she's, Arya is like, oh, well, maybe you shouldn't, or whatever, maybe you should treat the animals better. And Frank's like, I'll think about it, but obviously he won't think about it. And then she leaves, and as she leaves, she gets picked up in a limo. And they're like, that's kind of weird, but okay, maybe she's like just a really successful nature photographer, I guess. I don't know what goes through these fucking people's heads, but for whatever reason,
Not
they're
much.
like, of course, the millionaire nature photographer, yeah, because that's how jobs work. Give me a break. But anyway, she gets picked up in a limo, and Tobias is like, well, there's nothing weird about that. Maybe we should break this Hork Bajir out of there because I did promise that I would bring the Hork Bajir.
Yeah,
So,
and it's Beck. It is the baby Beck that we are looking for.
yes, yeah, that is important to say. It is definitely the one that we were looking for. So they come up with a plan. The plan is simple. They will break down a wall and they will grab Beck.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the plan goes immediately awry because Rachel is like, hey, what if I just broke down everything in the place? And Tobias is like, Rachel, don't be silly. Jake said that you could only break down one wall, and as we all know, we all listen to Jake. However, if you were to get confused and break down more than one wall,
because
that
we're
would be kind of
battling.
fucking awesome. And
Yeah.
Rachel's like, I agree. So she starts just breaking everything, thought speaking to everybody.
Yeah.
She starts calling herself Dumbozilla, which is just awesome.
I forgot about that.
And then she's like, she's sick as hell. She's so
Yeah,
awesome.
Rachel's
Like,
pretty great.
Rachel just gets better with every book, and this book rocks. And so she's like, every Rachel segment in this book rocks. And so Rachel's like, yeah, so she's just breaking down everything. She's thought speaking to everyone without impunity, and she's just like, get out of here, animals. And then Tobias is like, obviously they're too concerned with all the chaos that's happening that no one's gonna remember that wasn't outright said out loud.
Yeah.
Which is like, okay.
Okay.
At this point, they're reading in the news, this really weird thing happened next to
With
the
an
Marriott
elephant.
resort on the beach. Where all of these animals stampeded out of the water to destroy all of the politicians' homes or temporary homes as they were trying to have some sort of secret meeting at the Marriott in Forks, Washington. And lo and behold, we now have a circus sideshow attraction mini golf place, which is treating animals poorly, and an elephant barges in.
Yeah.
It's like, well, clearly there's something happening here.
And also,
but no one draws any conclusions.
We don't go to the Marriott. Arya's not staying in the Marriott. She's staying in a Hyatt this book. So,
Oh, of course.
Different hotel.
Yes. No, I was just drawing the conclusion to the presidential meeting that happened, however many books ago that definitely mattered.
To talk about the Middle East.
A clearly important plot point, which is definitely carrying over.
It's still coming back. Well, it'll come back.
You
We
never
know it.
know.
We know it. It'll come back.
When we finally meet Bill Clinton in these books, and he's like, hey man, I really like what you guys did over at the Marriott.
And then he starts playing saxophone with everybody. And everyone's just like, yeah, Bill! Bill! So Rachel's destroying the place. Tobias morphs his Hork Bajir morph, and he's like, Beck, come with me. And Beck is like, Papa? And he's like, sure, come with me. And then
Right.
he runs into Visser 3. And Visser 3 is just says like, oh, I just happened to be here. even though technically, little bit of a spoiler here. I technically just drove away.
Did I come in a limo?
Yeah, did I come in a limo?
Did I come in a limo?
A limo just happens to be parked out in this place. So
whatever.
Visser 3 turns into like a gross seahorse thing that spits acid. Tobias is running with Beck, and he sees that Beck is dumb and will not jump out of the way to save himself. So Tobias jumps in front of Beck, so he takes the acid shot to the back. He screams because it's incredibly painful.
Yep.
And all he can think about is
jumps into the mud.
all he can think about is getting in the mud, getting in the water to get this acid off his back, which aren't you not supposed to use water with acid because it makes it worse?
Oh, Kacey, of course, that's too specific for this
Hang on.
novel.
Can you wash off acid with water?
Don't be so foolish.
Oh, you can. You flush with excess water for 15 minutes. Okay. Yes.
Sure.
For some reason I thought maybe it's a base that you're not supposed to do
Listen,
that.
it's the last of my concerns because all I'm focused on is that little Hork Bajir baby
Little
boy.
baby.
Just making sure that he gets to safety.
Little baby.
That's where my heart
Yes.
is because that's the most important plot, obviously, of course. And that's the plot that we're all paying attention to, obviously. Of course.
Yes. So Tobias rolls around in the water and the dirt, screaming, and he gets up, and Beck is gone. Who knows where he went? Where did he come from?
Yep.
Where did he go? Where did he come from, Cotton Eye Joe? He just is not there. And
gone.
Tobias is like, no! I had one job! I'm such an idiot! I'm so fucking stupid! God, I fucking hate myself! I'm gonna go pull my feathers out because I hate myself.
Yeah. The self-hate talk in this
Strong.
book does get to a fever
A little
pitch.
bit, yeah.
It does get to a... It gets to a high, especially later. There's one moment later where you're like, "Whoa, okay, you didn't dial it back.
Yeah,
You just get a little intense."
It didn't. But to me, it didn't feel like overly done because I remember feeling angst like that as a teenager and just being like, "Oh, fuck it, everything's problem." Ah! And so Tobias is feeling it. He's very upset. So then everyone's like, it's okay, Tobias.
They all get away. They regroup. He's really upset. He's so sad about how he let the Hork Bajir go and whatever. They're like, don't worry about it because we know exactly what's going to happen to him.
And they use finger guns
He's
also.
probably going to be taken right back to their finger gunning. Yeah. He's like, they're probably going to be taken right back to that Yerk pool that the Hork Bajir were talking to you about before. So if we just find out where that Yerk pool is from the Hork Bajir in the valley, then we can find out how to get back.
Yeah, I wouldn't have understood any of that without the finger guns, just FYI.
No, the audience can't see how many finger guns I'm using.
We got a lot of finger guns just swirling on the screen here.
The most finger guns you've ever seen in your life. It is. I'm like a drummer in a crazy drum band.
Yeah. You're the drum solo in the Phil Collins song. I can feel it coming.
Today's Tom Sawyer, he gets high on you. You know what I'm saying? So, where was I? Oh, yeah. So they go back to the Hork Bajir Valley. They're talking to the seer, which, as we know, is a smart one.
Toby.
So Tobias is like, hey, Tobes, how about you tell us where that Yerk pool is, Holmes? And Tobes is like, listen, brother, can't tell you where that Yerk pool is because you guys are going to betray us just like the Andalites did on our home planet, which is the whole reason that we're even here in the first place. Because the Andalites were big dumb dum-dums, and they used us as expendable. And we don't want to be caught in that same cycle of violence.
Yeah.
So we're just trying to get our people out and do our thing. And then Tobias is like, listen, Tobes, level with you. I could definitely get back if you just tell us where the Yerk pool is, and we'll be chill. We won't destroy the Yerk pool.
No.
Tobes then pulls a fast one on everybody and is like, all right, I'll tell you what. I think we got to do what they would least expect. Tobias is like, let me know. I'm all ears. Tobes then says to Tobias, let's all go. All the Hork Bajir. We go in. We fuck up the whole place.
Yeah.
Tobias is like, that's very different than what you were saying to me a moment ago.
Yep.
What changed? And Tobes is like, I don't know.
Bloodlust.
We fucking out here. That's what changed.
we fucking out here.
And I swear to...
They start playing Not Like Us in the background.
I'm embellishing on the dialogue a little bit, but it is an important point of note that Tobes, now I'm just calling them Tobes. I actually forgot what the real name is.
Tobes is a girl. Her name's Toby.
Right. Yes. So Tobes...
There you go. Tobes.
So Tobes is like... he actually says at one point, yeah, if Hork Bajir die, they die. We're getting rid of this Yeerk pool.
Which is
Tobias
crazy.
Like, I don't know why this changed, but okay, all right. I guess we're going to destroy Yeerk pool. So they all are going to destroy Yeerk pool. Tobias is like gets in his feelings. He has this whole conversation with Rachel at some point in here.
Yeah.
Where he's
like,
feeling
I'm
really
weak.
guilty about. Yeah, he's like, and she's like, you think I can't tell you're not eating? And she gets all up in his little bird grill about it. And he's like, yo, chillax, Holmes. And
she's like, don't you ever call me Holmes.
Yeah, she's like,
I love you.
Listen, yeah, and she basically outright says, she's like, I don't know why we're beating around the bush anymore. I hate to see you suffer like this. You suffer in silence. You won't tell anybody that you're going through pain. And then at this point, I was reading it at Gianni, and I was like, oh, this is a little too real. Let's I'm relating a little.
This
too
is
much
really
to this
real for
conversation.
Animorphs.
We should get this out. What's going on now? And then she basically presses on it. She says, I think that she basically outright says, like, I think that you should make a decision that's good for you, which is to not be a hawk anymore. And he's lamenting about the fact that he's not hawk enough, and that's why he's having all these problems with that other hawk in the clearing or whatever with the rabbit. And he's also not human enough because he doesn't really relate to people anymore. And
he's
so
like,
Rachel's
she's like, what are we gonna
you
do?
could just be human.
Yeah, she's like, look, I understand if you choose to stay a hawk, we're never going to hold hands. We're never going to go see the movies together. We're never going to have dinner together. And that's fine. I just want to be around you. And I was like,
yeah,
Rachel. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Tobias
Tobias
at this point,
is like,
his bird beak should have been in and around her mouth. His bird
Inside.
beak should have been... She should have been sucking that bird beak down like a goddamn wonton soup at this point. And instead, they don't kiss. And he's like feeling all kinds of ways about it. But Rachel kind of she kind of ate with that. He was like, "Shit, all right."
She right though.
Let's go do this thing though, where we destroy this Yeerk pool because obviously that's the more important plot, right? But before that,
he gets upset and he flies away, and he's in his feels.
And they got some feels. There's some feels going on, and then he decides like, hey, maybe he's like goes and lands on a tree, and then his friend Axe comes up, the alien and the bird, they say, and the two of them come up with like, well, we got some time to kill before we got to go to this Yeerk pool thing. Maybe we could watch Arya for a little while, make sure that she's really on the up and up. So they go, they spy on that bitch. What they find out is that every so often, she goes back to her bathroom in the hotel, and this does not raise any red flags in either of these guys.
No,
Axe
no
even
red flags.
asked about it. He's like, why does she have to shit in her hotel? He didn't say that, but he basically says that.
And Tobias is like, I don't know, woman problems.
Well, it must be a woman thing where they don't like public restrooms.
Maybe she's on her period.
Yeah, well, every 2 hours, that's usually when they gotta change their tampons, am I right?
And Axe is like, I don't know what any of those words mean, but I believe you.
Yes.
And so they watch her, and everything seems totally fine and totally normal, and there's nothing weird about that whatsoever. So then... Except... Yeah.
What do you remember what happens here? A little repeat of what happened to Eric. A little girl almost gets hit by a bus. Again,
oh, right.
with the buses.
They decided to throw...
The bus drivers in this universe do not like children whatsoever. They hate them.
I completely forgot about this. You're right. This was like such a non-flip on my radar. Where it was like,
who gives a shit?
They just went out of her way to be like, see, she's altruistic too.
She's so,
and
yeah.
like,
Okay.
No, dude. So we got a little girl crossing the street, and a bus driver just decides not to stop at the stop sign or the stoplight and keeps going to mow down this small child. And Arya sees it, and she runs, and she runs, and she tackles the little girl and pushes her out of the way so the bus doesn't hit her and run her over. And so Tobias and Axe are both like, well, she must be good if she saves a little girl from a bus.
Clearly, of
The
course.
end. Let's go to
And
the
there's
Yerk pool.
nothing weird about that.
Nothing weird about
So
that.
their big master plan with the Hork Bajir Yerk pool thing is all of the Hork Bajir are going to march up. All of the animorphs are going to pose on them as bugs.
Yeah. Which also, Rachel, they're debating what kind of bug they should be. And Rachel comes in clutch with your science, Gianni.
She does say I can't believe she said this.
Rachel's like, a bug's a bug.
Like, no way.
A bug's a bug.
She's fucking right. As if Rachel wasn't already my favorite character. She said that, and I was like, there's no fucking way that they just read my mind. A bug is a bug. She is right.
A bug's
and
a bug.
Marco's complaining. She's like, pick any bug. A bug is a bug. You're right. You're right.
You're right, Gianni. You called it.
God, she's such a G.
You
She's such a
called
homie, dude. She's so sick.
For real. I would lay down
Oh
for
my
her.
gosh.
So
I really would.
So then
then they get captured immediately.
Yeah, they're in some kind of a trap, and they see Beck in
Right.
there in a cage, and despite all his rage, he's still just a rat in a cage, and Tobias decides to morph Hork Bajir. What? It's a good song.
Our brains are just so rotted. Our brains are so rotted.
So Tobias
How
morphs.
does anyone listen to this?
Tobias is not in the cage, and he morphs Hork Bajir, and he's like, I'm going to trick these guys. And he goes up to the Hork Bajir guards, the controllers, and he's like, hey, Visser wants you. And they're like, what for? And he's like,
I
just
don't
wants you.
know. They want to talk to you.
yeah.
And he even says like just
He's
to
like,
the
give me your
audience, he's like,
keys.
one thing I learned is there's always a they. And so
Yeah,
he's like,
that's true.
They want to talk to you, and then he literally is like,
Keys, please.
and then
Keys,
just like you
please.
said, he's like, keys, please. They give him the keys. He immediately unlocks it. They're like, what are you doing? He punches him. He knocks him out.
Yeah! Yes,
it's like
dude.
pandemonium.
Yeah, so they have a small fight. Now there's a weapon in this Yerk pool that they want to blow up. Okay. Then they see a helicopter come in with the Visser apparently is in that. Cool.
Yeah.
The helicopter fight. And then they think the Visser's in it, but actually they see Arya on site. And she's got a cold, mean stare. And they've seen that stare before. Arya was the Visser the entire time.
Who could have predicted this?
But why would the Vissers save a child from a bus? It doesn't make sense. Anyway, they don't think about that. So they're like, he fooled us. And then Tobias continues to berate himself to the point where I wrote in my notes, buddy, like, stop.
Yeah, he gets so down on himself. He starts
Yes.
plummeting. Everyone thinks he got shot.
Yeah.
They immediately, rush him off
Yeah.
the field, and they're, checking him for wounds. Cassie's like, where were you hit? He's like, I wasn't.
He's like, my
They're
heart.
like, why did you drop? He's like, because Arya, my cousin, is actually Visser 3. And then he starts laughing maniacally like a weirdo. And they're like, okay, man, well, you can go figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
While off screen, we will continue with this fight. And we will, of course, fix all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And so
They do.
they do.
And they get out, and Tobes shows up and is like, I know you told me to stay behind, but I'm here. And I got everybody
I'm the
out.
smart one.
Yeah, so I'm picking you up by your little bird body, and I'm taking you out, and I'm going to give you to Rachel.
Great.
And then it's the next day, and it's finally Tobias's birthday. And he has to go meet de Groot. And
Right.
he's like, all right, it's definitely a trap. I got to stay cool, calm, cool, collected. Whatever they tell me, I got to just be stony-faced and not give a shit. And so the lawyer's like, okay, here's your letter. My name is Elfangor Does that name ring any bells? Is
It's literally what they do the whole time. That's so accurate. They literally, it does read like they're literally like every line they're like looking intently at him, like looking for a reaction.
Yeah.
And Tobias is like, I will give them nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually plays it off great. He plays it
does.
off like he's just some sort of angsty teenager, and he's like, oh great, so my dad was a psycho too and thinks he's an alien. What else is new?
Yeah.
Stupid. And then he's like, was there any money? And they're like, no, there's no money.
And he's like,
and Tobias is like, well, then why do I care? Why did I have to come all the way down here?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, well, I guess you don't. And then as he's leaving, Arya takes it upon herself to be like, by the way, I knew Elfangor, and he was sick as fuck. And
she does.
And Tobias is like, okay.
Whatever.
And he's like, are you going to take care of me like you said you would? And Arya's like, yes, but I have to go away on another safari trip, so maybe another time.
Africa.
And Tobias is like, yeah, typical. And then like leaves the room and immediately overhears the conversation where they're like, so are we going to put a yurk in him? And then Arya, who's also Visitor 3, is like, no, of course we're not going to put a fucking yurk in him. That kid's a loser. Elfangor should have been given birth to a warrior. That kid sucks. And then Tobias walks away, obviously emotional.
Yeah.
He morphs into bird, morphs back into human just so that he could cry.
Oh boy, get it
Because
out.
he has to,
Get out your
he has
emotions.
to have a cathartic release after the whole
Poor
thing.
old guy.
And then
he goes.
And then later that night he goes to Rachel and she made him a little cake.
Little birthday cake.
A little cake with a little candle.
Little birthday
And she
cake.
says happy birthday. She sings happy birthday like the Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
President.
But she doesn't sing
And,
it. She just says happy birthday.
No. In my head canon, she sang it. And then,
Oh, yeah.
happy birthday. And
yeah.
he...
That was good.
Yeah,
That was
so
good.
then the last chapter... Well, actually, the chapter right after that is then explaining everything that happened. It's like, in case you didn't realize, the whole reason that the ruse... it was like... Arya clearly was posing, or Visitor 3 was posing as Arya the whole time, just in case an Animorph was watching her. He was
Morphing
trying
in
to
and
see
out
if
of the
there was a
bathroom.
correlation.
Yeah.
And clearly thought that Tobias was something to do with it. But I played it off so well that no longer does he think that, and now we're okay. And you're like, great,
Yeah.
I have the resolution on that plot, I guess. And then the last chapter of the book is Tobias acquiring the mother rabbit thing that he's been hunting after the whole time.
Because he ate and killed the mother rabbit. So
Yeah, he acquires the morph, then he
kills
and
her,
eats it,
and then he
and then,
becomes Mama
and then
Rabbit.
he morphs into her.
Yeah, and takes care of the babies.
Yeah.
And then
I guess.
that's the end. So look at that! I have in my notes Hork Bajir ending. Oh, I'm so glad I remembered, because honestly, I forgot. I did forget.
I forgot. I forgot that you had said that.
Yes.
And that was only like 40 minutes ago.
Yeah, for
So,
real.
there you go.
So here's my idea for a slightly better ending. Have Beck die. There we go.
Great.
Like, they tried and they couldn't get him out, and he ended up getting caught in the crossfire and he died. And that sucks. And that can still follow the plot line of Tobias feeling inadequate. It doesn't take anything away from the viewer. Like, even if Beck dying happens off screen, if Tobias comes to and he's talking to Toby and he's like, "Where's Beck? Did Beck get out?" And Toby says, "Beck died."
Nah.
You know, like, then I think,
Yeah,
you
it
know,
elevates the stakes of the whole plot. It makes
Absolutely.
it feel more consequential. Absolutely.
exactly,
That's better.
more consequences. So that's
Yeah.
my slight different ending. I
Yeah.
do love that Rachel gave him a little birthday cake. Now, was it like a meat cake or was it like an actual birthday cake that he had to turn into human and eat?
Oh. I don't
Also,
know.
question, because as humans, they have to morph into their morphs only wearing super tight clothes. When Tobias morphs human, is he naked?
Fuck
Or is
yeah,
he
he is.
in like a leotard? He just strolls into DeGroot's office.
Just
hanging
hanging brain.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah.
I thought hanging brain too.
Dude.
That's awesome.
So love that.
Hanging brain.
love that for us.
Yeah, dude.
Oh
yeah.
my god.
Oh,
Hell
man.
yeah.
No, that's
yes.
Yeah, he's just dropping trow and fucking.
He's like, hey, de Groot,
Yeah.
take a look at the goat, and he turns
Whoa.
over and everything's tucked in between.
Nice.
You know, like the movie Waiting.
Waiting reference. Yeah, I love that.
Hell
That's
yeah.
great.
Love
I
that movie.
rewatched
Love
that
that
movie recently, and
It still holds up.
it's funny. It aged way worse than you think it did.
Oh, I'm sure it's aged, but I feel like a lot of that attitude is still in a lot of restaurants.
Oh, alive and well within me.
100%.
About me. But no,
Yeah.
I still enjoy it. It is debaucherous.
Yeah, it's fun. I love it. I love
Mm-hmm.
it. So, yeah, that would be the change to the ending I would make.
Yeah, I like that change.
I do. Yeah, I do like the idea of trying to weave these two plots in together. I think we need to do it in a better way. And I don't know exactly how we would do it. I like following Arya around, and yeah, saving the kid from the bus is suspicious, but there's no reason Visser 3 would actually do that. Like, he doesn't give a shit about children. So that doesn't make any sense at all.
No. Weird.
If she got hit by a bus, then it would be funny.
That'd be sick as hell.
Yeah, it would be.
But no, I mean, like,
so,
I
yeah.
I think that the change that you would make, I think, is like the perfect way to do it if you want to kind of keep the story intact as is. I would opt for more of like kind of in an adaptation, kind of getting rid of a lot of this plot and really just finding a way to keep this central Tobias thing as like some sort of hook side plot becomes a plot in another episode of the series, you know, just kind of weaving it throughout a season, having like a season start with an approach to Tobias, and then kind of laying out the groundwork for that to become like one of the last points of a season or something to that effect. But yeah, I mean, I just think I think that the reason that I find this book to be tedious is just because it had to be a full book, because Applegate, I think, clearly wanted just this one plot and then was like, well, I can't stuff this really full of anything else. So I think it's an admirable effort in trying to connect these different plots, but yeah, I just think ultimately it misses the mark, and it's just clear that she wants to talk about one thing in particular. So I think unburden Applegate from the prison shackles of putting out a book every week or whatever the fuck she was doing with it. She's busting him out like nothing.
I mean, I feel like also DeGroat doesn't need to be a controller. He can just be a lawyer and like find this file somewhere in his dad's files and be like, oh, I gotta find this Tobias. Does anybody know this kid? You know, and like Visser 3 doesn't even need to be, nobody needs to be involved. I think it would actually be better if Tobias kept this to himself. And he's like, well, I don't want to tell anybody about a letter that my father left me because that's for me. And, you know, I don't want my friends to know about it yet. I want to figure out what that means. And that can become a much more like central story for Tobias, kind of focusing on this and carrying this burden himself until his birthday. Which again, it's a small story. It can definitely be added on to a better plot in future books. It can just be like a small offset in the middle of the episode. And then have it end with him being like, oh, is Elfangor? Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, a large reason that I think these books are, I mean, I don't want to say like hindered by the way they're written, but I do think that there are certain things that Applegate has to adhere to in keeping with the regularly programmed structure. And I think a big part of it is if you have a significant Tobias scene like the one that ends this book, you need to have it be in a Tobias story. Yeah. So you don't have those same shackles in TV. We don't have to be locked into one POV for an entire episode we can split between them, so it has a little bit more freedom in terms of how the camera is actually choosing to cover a character perspective. So so it's not shackled to that.
No.
So I think that it would be totally acceptable and totally fine.
Yeah.
And maybe even more interesting. Who's to say?
Yeah. Maybe a little romance between him and Rachel.
That would be great. I would throw that in. That's the first thing I'm doing. Just a full-on...
Kiss him on his bird beak right now.
Full-on, bird-on, broad action.
There we go, baby. Also, I do want to let people know, I sent Gianni the opening of the Animorphs TV show for him to watch the title sequence. Thoughts?
I did watch it.
You can find it on YouTube. Actually, they have all the episodes on YouTube, which we probably will watch at some point.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're gonna have to watch all of those. But
100%.
Yeah, I watched the opening. My first reaction to you was, why are they all 30 years old?
They're all so 30. Old. They're so old.
They're all so old. Now listen, like, I get aging characters up.
You should age them up a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I think them being in high school fits, but they're all 30-year-old people in high school.
They're all so old. Like, just watching them walk down the hallways, I was like, that ain't it. It's not real. You're not really there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
by the way, if you hear that slurping sound, that's my dog drinking water at the most opportune moment.
That's
here.
what she
So
does. She's a dainty lady.
To town. She's going to town over there.
She's like a horse. Have you ever seen a horse drink water?
Yes. Yeah. This is my pet horse.
Like a backwards hose.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, should we move on to the next book?
Yes. Is it called The Suspicion?
Yes. And you're going to love this cover. You're going to love this cover.
This might be my new favorite. This is the best one.
Yeah. This is a good cover. This is a real good cover.
What the fuck?
Ayo, what the fuck? Vibe check? What?
Oh man! You call this an aardvark, right? This is an aardvark.
This is an anteater.
An anteater. Okay, so those are different things, and I was today years old.
Aardvarks are much smaller, and their heads.
Okay.
They don't have like the. I mean, they do have long tongues, but I don't think it's quite as much as the anteater.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I believe.
Okay.
So what's on the cover
I'm looking
there?
at a comparison right now. Looking at comparison photos so that I have reference. But yes. Okay. Yeah. It's it's Kacey, and she's squatting, and then she slowly
she's ready.
The most terrifying animal known to planet Earth, the anteater. This long skunk-looking thing with the head of a the head of a puppet and the tongue of a snake. The grossest looking animal of all time. Yeah, and like the second image, like you're like, oh, she's a rat, and then the third image, you're like, she's a rat with something wrong with it, and then the fourth image, you're like, oh no, it just gets worse.
No, yeah. I'm looking at pictures of aardvarks versus anteaters now. Yeah, aardvarks look like desert rabbits, and it's really cute because there was this video that I love to refer back to because it just makes me so happy. It's an aardvark that gets introduced to a pumpkin, like a pumpkin, a fresh pumpkin. It's an aardvark at a zoo, and so they show him a pumpkin. He sticks his nose on the pumpkin, and all you hear is him sniffing it. So he's just like. And I'm just like, oh my god, he's so cute. It's so cute. I gotta send it to you.
They seemingly
it's super
have
cute.
like big ears. That is like one of the biggest distinctions from what I'm looking at here.
Yeah, and he's got like a flat nose, like a pig's nose. Almost. I mean, it's long, but it's also like the end is shaped like a pig's nose. Whereas an anteater is just like a schloop.
An anteater just looks like an absolute anomaly of nature, and you don't realize quite how different they are until you're looking at them side by side. And you're like, oh,
they're very
one of these
different.
Could be an animal. The other is a creature of myth that just so happens to be real. But yeah, wow. That's
super
crazy.
cute. Super cute.
Oh my
love
goodness.
him. You
Yeah.
like his tail, the anteater's tail?
No, I hate it. It
What?
kind of looks like a Leopleurodon tail in this cover.
Love
Like
it.
slinking back around.
Yeah, it's long fur. I love it.
Ugh.
So yeah, what's the tagline on the Cassie book on the front here?
Yeah, it says what counts is on the inside most of the time.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
What do you think?
No
What do you
earthly
think?
clue.
No earthly clue. You got nothing with the anteater and the tagline and the suspicion.
I mean, I don't know how I would possibly come to. I mean, there's gonna be a suspicion? Question mark?
Oh my
maybe?
God, I vaguely remember this. Okay.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
What, you like this one?
Maybe.
Oh God.
I don't remember if
that
I
was a
like it or
ringing
not, but
endorsement.
I think you're gonna be upset. Let me just
Oh no! Why?
let me give you the synopsis.
Okay.
Cassie, the other Animorphs, and Axe, don't know why you had to not include Axe in the Animorphs, but okay, have
Yeah,
a
all right.
few...
He's only been around there for 20
For 20 books,
but
yeah.
okay, go off.
They have a few little problems. A few very little problems. Actually, the problems call themselves the Helmicrons. They're less than an inch tall, and they're pretty
What the
upset.
fuck is that?
That's
Wait, it's a new animal? It's a new species
yes,
of alien?
yes.
Oh, that's why you said I was going to be... Yeah, because you knew I would...
They're less than an inch tall, and they're pretty upset.
Oh. What the... Why?
And they're pretty upset at Cassie.
We're 24 fucking books in. Why are we... Oh, we need the little tiny ant-sized aliens.
They believe she stole their ship. Cassie thought it was just a toy, and she gave it to charity. Because, of course, she would. Now the Helmicrons want it back. So the Animorphs and Axe have a new dilemma. Because the Helmicrons have their own secret weapon. They can shrink other beings down to their size. And if they don't get their ship back soon, everyone on the planet is in for a little surprise.
Oh, God.
What? You don't think that sounds
Okay.
interesting and fun?
I mean... my immediate reaction is like, okay... this must happen to them all the fucking time. Like, if they're just they must constantly be losing this shit. If it's that easy to mistake the thing for a toy and give it to charity, which so now this is the only reason that I might be excited about this book, though, is that I think it might be really funny to have a heist plot. Where our heroes are forced to rob a charity. That's exactly the type of dark and ridiculous antics I'm looking for. So
But Gianni,
maybe this is the sequel to the reaction that we've been waiting for.
how do they do that if they're only an inch tall?
Hey, I say this with so much love and respect. Who gives a fuck?
With respect, who gives a fuck?
Yeah. I've literally this is the least intrigued I've been since you read me the oatmeal plot.
Oh God, the oatmeal plot was so bad. I don't want this to be bad. I want this to be another reaction.
I hope it's that.
I hope
but
so, too.
My expectation going in will be oatmeal plot, and my hope will be reaction.
So what I remember from this is the inside cover. So with all the Animorphs books, I'm sure you remember, they had the morphing on the front cover, and then you turn the front cover, and the first page was a illustrated picture of that animal doing something, like either in nature or in public or something like that, right? And so this one, I remember, you turn to the first page, and it's a close-up of the anteater's tongue with all these little guys stuck to it.
Ugh.
The Helmicrons. They're all stuck to the anteater's tongue. And that's what I
No.
remember.
I hate that.
I don't know if it's actually like a plot in the book. It probably is, but yeah, that's what I remember.
My immediate thought is like, oh, they're gonna use the anteater to get rid of this alien civilization. So, this could be one of the only examples of a genocide that could be a fun giggle.
That is true. That's true. I like that. Yeah. So if you have thoughts on this future book, you can send them to us at our email address. Gianni, what's our email address?
Oh, it's morphinbuddies@gmail.com. I should also say we got a very, very lovely email that you had sent me.
Oh, yes.
That I just wanted to shout out our friend.
Go ahead.
I have to scroll up to find it. Where did you send it to me? Oh my god!
I texted it to you.
So long. We talk way more than I think we do.
It's fun. Well, because you were talking about Richard Linklater.
That's why. Yeah, because I was talking your fucking ear off.
No, it was fun. I was at work and I was just like giggling. I was like, "Oh, Gianni, this is so cute."
He loves this man. Ryan sent us an absolutely lovely email, and I just wanted to shout it out. It's long, but I did read it, and I just love our email people so much.
Yeah.
They bring such joy to me. Mm-hmm. Every time we get an email, I always say it's like my favorite part of these episodes, but they really do brighten my day.
Yeah, same.
I love that people just, even if they only care about the Ennomers books and they're just like, I wish these two would just shut up and talk more about the book. Even if that was the case, it warms my heart that anyone would care enough to type up an email to us. So it's very sweet, and we do really like getting those. But Ryan, thank you for your lovely thoughts.
Yes, we appreciate you, and we appreciate everyone that sends us an email. And you know what? We even appreciate the lurkers who may be a little shy to say anything, but that's okay, buddy. You just keep on on. You know what I mean? So you
could also send us an email that's just for us. If you want to just put in, you could put in parentheses or something down below. You'd be like, "Don't read this one on the podcast.
Oh yeah,
I'm shy," and
that's
we
fine.
won't.
We won't. We absolutely will not.
We'll read it between the two of us, but we won't read it on the podcast.
Yes,
unless you want to just send me an email.
Yeah.
And then you have to type at the top, "Hey Kacey, don't read this one. This is just for
Gianni." You got to put that in the subject, so that way I will open the email, take a screenshot, send it to Gianni, but I won't read it.
Yep.
I won't read it.
Yep. It's Scout's honor. Scout's honor. And that's, and we abide by that here at the Morphin Buddies podcast.
That is correct. Unless you say that chickens don't fly, I will not send that to Gianni because it's not real. Stop giving in to his delusions.
But they don't. If they did fly, then
they do fly.
Then it would be giving into my delusions.
No.
I have no delusions. No. I have only correct opinions.
You said the T-Rex had wings.
And
it doesn't have wings. Ryan even confirmed.
We don't know that.
Ryan confirmed.
We don't know.
Ryan is a biochemist. We believe him.
No, listen, here's the thing. Love Ryan. Ryan...
He's not a biochemist.
I haven't ranked the people that write into the show, but I would say that Ryan is easily top 3, and he probably ain't 3 or 2. But what I would say is that Ryan... Just agree with me on this.
Don't
just
do
agree
it.
with me on this.
Ryan, don't give in to peer pressure.
Those arms are twisted the wrong way. If they just turn them around, guess what?
No.
Flappy, right?
That's not science. That's not science.
He said they have feathers. So
they may have had feathers. They may have had feathers,
wings.
But it would have been, no, it's not wings. It would have been down the back. Anyway, you can email us at morphinbuddies@gmail.com. That's morphinbuddies at
GMAIL.com. Rude.
No.
Rude.
No, this is your punishment.
Rude.
This is your punishment.
Rude. Actually, that episode is about to come out, and I'm very excited.
Oh, I can't wait.
I think I sound like an absolute idiot at the beginning.
No, you don't.
I'm very excited.
It's
so funny.
You actually do better than you think you do. It sounds like it took you forever.
So nervous. I was so nervous.
I know you were.
That I was like, oh my god, I'm cracking under pressure. Like, I felt like I was in high school again.
Yeah.
Actually, no, middle school, when I used to have test anxiety. They used to make me take tests separately.
Oh my god.
So that I could focus.
You're trying to fill in the circle and your hand's just shaking like you've got a palsy.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'll be honest with you, I don't really think I had test anxiety. I think I just made that shit up because I didn't want to study. But that is true. That happened, I think, on like 2 or 3 tests that they were like, you could have a separate day. And I was like, thank you so much. But I do feel, I am an anxious person. So
Same.
I was locked in.
Yeah, I get it. You can email us there, or you can just hang out and listen to our voices. Thank you so much for sticking with us through this longer episode, but we had a lot to say, you know?
So much to say.
So we love you guys.
and only some of it about animals.
Most of it about Animorphs, some of it about other minimal pursuits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really important things.
Really, really important things like hanging brain. So we will see you and get nestled up all cozy. Gianni will be the mama rabbit that lives in your little ear holes as we are speaking to you.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll do it. Ask him. He'll do it.
If you really want me to, but I'm not thrilled about it. Sounds very uncomfortable.
I'll do it, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys in the next episode of Morphin Buddies.